you really want to know the #1 reason I came to this, I'm a huge fan of Andrew Warner, Mixergy. I watch all his stuff. I've been on there before, which is super flattering. So to share a stage with Andrew, I would have definitely come out here on my own dollar or anything. I would have definitely come out here just to see Andrew and just be part of that. I feel honored for that. One of the things that people don't realize is that only about 1 in 8 things work out. I've quantified that for myself. We've seen it at AppSumo. About 1 in 8 things work out. That kind of goes with like that 80-20 principle. So a lot of people will have their first idea and they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And they fail at it, or they just never really get it off the ground, and they think like, oh, that's it, I'm not an entrepreneur. What they don't know is that everyone, like I've done like 30 different types of businesses that have like either succeeded or failed. Most of them failed, they're just stupid little ideas. Some of them were spawned in a weekend and quit in a weekend. But the people that constantly do stuff over and over, and just for fun, just for like the pure hell of it, those are the people that usually make it.
I try not to do a lot of live events because Mixergy has such a big audience already, and so I don't need to do a live event to reach a big audience. When I do events at all, it's to connect with people one-on-one, private conversations, and to get to know what are their problems, where are their issues. And so when I found out that there was an audience of real entrepreneurs here who had real issues, I wanted to come in and get to know them and see if I could, through my work, help them out. One of the most shocking answers was their revenues. I didn't realize that these guys who were bootstrapped were bringing in so much money. I mean, you're talking about selling mushrooms. The guy brought in $3+ million selling mushrooms. And so I got curious about how he got started and how he did it. Neville talked about doing hundreds of thousands of dollars selling educational material online. And of course, Chris, we're talking about apartment list, multi-million dollars. They're looking for $1 billion exit. So all of this started with very low funding, hardly any at all, and they just kept hustling and hustling. When I started my first company, I had no outside funding. I was somewhere like $50,000 in debt, and no one would give me any money. No one believed in what I was doing, and when I asked for funding, I was told all the reasons why it wasn't right for me. And what I decided to do was just keep going in. I said, I'm already deep in debt, I'm gonna take on more debt. I had a stack of credit cards this big, and I'm proud of it that I did it and that I believed enough in myself more than anyone else, but I was also freaking out. And I didn't know that you can do what I was doing. I thought you could I was just crazy and taking a risk. One of the reasons why I'm glad that there are events like this is so that we can talk to someone else who's out there who doesn't have any funding and tell them you don't have to have that. And there was someone in the audience out there who came up to me and said, Andrew, I am tens of thousands of dollars in debt. What do I do? And we talked, and I said, this is where I was. And we talked about how he can avoid freaking out and what he can do to just focus not on his freak out, but on his customers and on his vision. And when you do that, then great stuff happens.
I think the thing I know about entrepreneurship now that I didn't know before is that there's nothing special about it. It's the same thing as everything else in life, you know? Hustle, passion, are you having fun? You know, you're doing something you're willing to wake up every morning at 6 a.m. for, and if the answer is yes, that's entrepreneurship. It's just doing what you love, and that could be inside a company or outside of a company. There's no glamour, nothing scary about it. Just do what you love every day and something cool will happen.
You know, the conventional wisdom in business school is if you go into startups, into entrepreneurship, the startup route, that it's extremely risky and you have a high likelihood of failure. And that's simply not the case. The way that we went about it is we started a business that was very similar to competing online businesses. We out-competed them, and then we used that as a platform to get to know our customers a lot better and to innovate from there. That's something that they don't teach at all in business school. In fact, if you throw out an idea that someone else is doing, it's completely dismissed as not a startup-worthy idea by virtue of the fact that someone else is doing it. I think if I went back to business school and taught a course, I would tell people that, hey, it's okay to go into business with an undifferentiated product. Know that you need to go into a big growing market where you can be competitive, and innovation can come later.